Hi everyone, this is meteorologist Brian Bennett, and here's your forecast for Monday, July 31st. We did have Tropical Storm Emily just form in the very eastern Gulf of Mexico, about 40 miles offshore of St. Pete Beach. It'll likely be downgraded to a tropical depression as it moves eastward across central Florida and then exit the state as a tropical depression, likely regaining tropical storm strength out in the Atlantic over the warm Gulf Stream waters and remaining a storm for the fishes as it continues to move off to the northeast. It should exit the state later tonight, Monday night, and early Tuesday morning. Here's a look at the infrared satellite imagery, the bright reds and yellows indicating some very high cloud tops, which of course usually is a one-to-one correlation with very heavy rain. So heavy rain falling across parts of central and southern Florida from this relatively small tropical storm. If you see this line here, this line is actually a stalled frontal boundary, and always kind of bad news to have a cool front move down and stall over the Gulf of Mexico. It kind of acts like a fishing lure to bring in these tropical type of systems, and you can see a tropical depression or tropical storm, even a hurricane develop along these stalled frontal boundaries. So something we're always keeping an eye out for whenever we see a frontal system drape itself over the Gulf of Mexico during hurricane season. All right, here's a look at the path of the tropical system. Again, moving onshore right around the Fort DeSoto area and then being downgraded quickly to a tropical depression and then exiting right around the Cape Canaveral area later Monday night and into early Tuesday morning. Here's a look at the RPM model, the Rapid Precision Mesoscale model, and the pink colors representing heavier rainfall. So moving throughout the morning hours, looking at heavy rain, especially I-4 and south. The heaviest rain is expected to be Tampa, St. Petersburg, and south, heading down towards Fort Myers and even eventually into the Miami area. And that does include southern Orlando as well. So moving throughout the morning hours, heavy rainfall fairly likely for an extended period of time. And then moving throughout the afternoon hours, we see that initial rain band actually move offshore a bit, so that should provide a little bit of a break from the extremely heavy rainfall, but still some pockets of tropical rain falling back in the Tampa Bay area and across central and south Florida. Moving throughout the late afternoon and evening hours, that initial rain band is all the way down into the Florida Keys, but again, still seeing some spotty tropical downpours across central and south Florida, which could lead to some pretty quick road flooding later this afternoon. And of course, the soil being pretty saturated, we could see some ponding not only on area roads, but maybe in some localized backyards as well. Moving through the nighttime hours, we see the activity quiet down a little bit, but not come to an end completely. Still seeing some spotty showers overnight. And then tomorrow afternoon, with maybe a little bit of heating, we'll see some tropical downpours possible once again. Not quite to the extent of what we're seeing on your Monday, but some heavy downpours possible again on Tuesday. And then moving into Wednesday, the tropical system is pretty much history. It's way out in the Atlantic Ocean, but still kind of more summer-like, heavy downpours possible on your Wednesday as well. But the majority of the tropical weather will be long gone by Wednesday. It's actually mainly going to be a Monday event across much of Florida. All right, here's a look at the rainfall estimate, and the pinkish color here you see. Well, first of all, in case you can't see it, here's the state of Florida right here, this little white line. And this pinkish color here, that represents rain totals possibly up to 8 or 9 inches of rain, maybe even a very isolated location or two, seeing maybe 10 inches of rain, not completely out of the question. Most folks will see, I'd say, between about 3 to 5 inches of rain for areas south of Tampa. That includes Manatee County, Sarasota, Hardy, DeSoto, Highlands County, areas down towards Fort Myers, and maybe even parts of Miami and Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and over towards areas south of Melbourne could even pick up those higher rain totals as well. So we're looking at the possibility again for maybe 3-4 inches of rain out of the system, and some of the heavier downpours and the training storms could leave behind 8, 9, maybe up to 10 inches of rain. So mainly a heavy rain system with Tropical Storm Emily. All right, what about the wind? The orange color represents winds right around 40 miles per hour. The yellow is right around 30 miles per hour, and the greenish color are winds right around 25 miles per hour. So throughout your morning, and early afternoon, we're looking at winds blowing right around 30 miles per hour, maybe gusting to 45 or so, especially in the immediate coastal areas. As you head inland away from the beach, the winds will rapidly decrease. It's mainly gusty along the coastal areas because that wind is totally unimpeded as it moves in, and then once you encounter the friction of land, the wind really decreases quickly. So beach locations could see some pretty gusty winds throughout the morning, afternoon, evening, and even into the early nighttime hours as well. But we're looking at the winds capping out right around, I'd say, 45 mile per hour wind gust. So not a huge threat from the winds with this storm. Again, mainly a wind or a rain threat. Can't rule out, though, a isolated water spout or maybe an isolated weak tornado moving across the state, something we'll keep an eye on throughout the afternoon hours, as we typically do see the possibility for tornadic activity increase during tropical systems. What about storm surge threat? Well, pretty good news here. The orange color represents a storm surge of about a half a foot to maybe 1 foot, and that would be pretty much from about Sarasota down through Fort Myers and Marco Island all the way down towards the Naples area, about a half a foot to 1 foot rise in sea level due to the winds and low pressure system. Heading up to the normally prone area of Cedar Key and Levy County, not really expecting much of a storm surge at all because the winds will be blowing from onshore to offshore. Inside of Tampa Bay, in the actual bay itself, we could see a rise of maybe about a quarter of a foot rise, but really not much of a storm surge threat from this storm. So kind of good news on that front. Again, mainly a rain threat. So what watches and warnings do we have? Well, we have the Tropical Storm Watch in effect for Pinellas County and south. That's in effect because we could see, well, obviously tropical storm type of conditions occurring. And also we have flood watches for pretty much everybody, Hillsborough, Pinellas County, Tampa, Lakeland areas south. Right now, Polk County not in that storm flood watch, but I think we'll see Polk County added and maybe even some counties farther east as the storm progresses eastward. Flood watch, a good idea, as the rain again will be the main threat from this storm. Also a RIP current statement in effect for all coastal areas from basically Clearwater Beach and areas south due to the possibility we could see a rip current develop. So not a good idea to take the kite board out, even though the winds will be kicking this afternoon. Better to leave all those recreational activities indoors on days we have tropical systems. Also, we do have a small craft advisory. Good day to leave the boat docked as well, as we could see somewhat rough seas offshore due to these onshore winds. What about traffic? Well, here's a look at the Howard Franklin Bridge heading across Tampa Bay. Of course, normal morning traffic, and the rain doesn't help that out either. As far as the Sunshine Skyway goes, as of 8 a.m. this morning, it is still open, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility that the Skyway could close for intermittent time periods throughout your Monday afternoon and evening when some of the gustier winds move across with some of these squalls. But for the most part, the Skyway should remain open throughout much of the afternoon and evening. Of course, you can check the DOT website and then give you more information about possible closures. All right, Jen, again, just a quick update. We did have Tropical Storm Emily develop over the very eastern Gulf of Mexico. Winds are currently 45 miles per hour. It's moving east at 8 miles per hour. It'll weaken into a tropical depression as it moves across central Florida. The heaviest rain threat will be mainly south of I-4, with rain totals possibly up to 8 or 9 inches, maybe even 10 inches in a few locations. Not much of a wind threat, really, and not really much of a storm surge threat either. Just watch out for those potentially flooded roadways as we head through the afternoon and evening hours, and then maybe a few tropical downpours as we head through the day tomorrow, but mainly an event for your Monday. All right, guys, that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to zip me a note. Otherwise, hope you have a great Monday, and don't forget that umbrella because you'll definitely need it. All right, have a good one.